Hello, I'm Carol Beringer, and the Radnor Memorial Library has invited me to present a 5-week series that will be available to you through the Radnor site, the Radnor Library site, and these are half-hour sessions of functional movement. So I am a movement re-education specialist, and I have a Pilates studio that has been in Wayne for 18 years. And when people come into the Pilates studio, and Pilates is functional movement, and functional movement is how do you get through your day? You stand, you sit, you walk. This is how you get from task to task, whether you're a professional athlete, a desk athlete, a teacher, taking care of young children, whatever your profession is, you need to move as well as you can for as long as you can. And when people come into the studio, one of the first things they say, well, everybody wants to have core strength, which everything we do will involve that. But today's session, we're going to focus on the two things that people always ask for when they come in. They say, I'm tight in my neck and my shoulders. Well, everything that we do in life is in front of us. So the muscles on the front, the surface, and the big muscles want to take over, and then they take us toward our tasks or our movements. And so we overdo the front, so it brings us into this kind of posture. So we need to correct that, and it's very easy to do. So today we are going to de-stress your neck and shoulders, first thing that people say when they come in. And the second thing they say is, I'm so tight, especially in the morning. So we're going to do morning stretches. Now today, when we do these, it will probably take twice as long as when you commit them to memory. So this session will be available to you all week, and then we'll build on each week. And they will be unremarkable movements that have remarkable benefits. So let's get started. The first thing we're going to talk about is the core has to do mostly with good posture. And we're going to stand here in good posture to do the neck. You could also do these seated. And so the first thing I'm going to tell you is that this is your pelvis. These are not your hips. We have been misled. And so your hips are actually, because this is for alignment, we're going to do hips, knees, and feet in alignment. Your femur bone comes up, and it's a ball and socket joint, as is your shoulders. So the bone comes up, there's a ball that goes into a socket right here. So hips, knees, and feet over each other, about the size of your fist, should fit between your big toes. So let's do a foot check. Look down and make sure your toes are straight across from each other. And this would be true even if you were seated. You would want to sit with hips, knees, and feet so that you're sitting up on your sits bones. And now we're going to have our sits bones right up over our legs so that we're standing in good posture. And the best way to get your spine in its 4 natural curves, which is one behind the neck, one here in the rib cage that goes outward, then inward again at the low spine, and your tailbone naturally tucks under, is to take your pinky and put it in your belly button and your thumb on your breastbone. I'm going to take my arm up so you see the shift. When I pull those two places apart, I lift my breastbone up off the belly button, I pull the pinky and the thumb apart. You can see a shift, and it's a very small skeletal shift. It's just picking your spine up away from gravity. So if you just employ that a lot, you'll already be strengthening your core. So we're going to stand in this good posture with the breastbone lifted off the belly button, arms long at the side, and the first thing we do is just reach the crown of the head to the ceiling. Take your arms out, wrap one hand over the other behind your head, and just push your head against your hands and your hands against your head. That is one amazing shift of your posture to bring your head back over your torso. And then from there, we're going to push the head up to the ceiling to decompress the neck and take your ear over to your shoulder. So it's a side bend for your neck. And then push your head up to the ceiling and take your head over to the other side. And we're going to breathe while we do this. Inhale through the nose and exhale through a soft jaw. And 3 breaths for each movement is a good measurement. You're going to take the head over to the first side, reach this arm out, and then you're just going to lightly put your hand on the other side of your head and just reach your ear up towards your fingers. So all these cues that I'm giving you are called idiokinesis, the idea of the movement. And while they sound so small, reach that arm back out and put it down, head goes up to the ceiling, ear goes over to the other side, reach that arm out. You're reaching out. We're decompressing from the center of the spine, from your shoulder blades, from your breastbone, reaching out, because this tightness that we have is because we start to tighten up when we're thinking. So just when we have our usual habits for our jobs, now take the ear back over to the first shoulder, laser beam coming out of your nose, you're going to draw a line down so you can see this hand. And then you're going to draw a line up towards the ceiling. And we never do anything to pain or fatigue, so your range of motion may be smaller than mine. You just want to feel some relief. And when you go up, try and look at your eyebrows. And when you come down, try to look at your shoulder with your eyeballs. Eyeball cueing, there are tendons that go from your eyeballs to the back of your head that can also be tight. And this actually adds just a little more bang for your buck. Then just sweep your chin over to the other side and then draw that laser beam up to where the ceiling and the wall meet over there. And then bring it down so you can look at your hand. And then we'll add the eyeballs. And as you're doing this, think of sending your tailbone down and your breastbone up. Look up at those eyebrows. And when you're doing that, it's the same thing as lifting the breastbone off the belly button. So there are all these different cues. Look back to your shoulder and then take it up. So you can see we're taking 3 breaths when we do something and 3 repetitions. And that's all you need as long as you're doing it well. So our bodies are meant to move, and better yet, they want to move well. So now let's just take the head over to this side, reach the opposite arm out, bend the elbow, and put the hand behind so you're touching your ears, your ear. And then just keep that elbow wide. Inhale through the nose and exhale through a soft jaw. When you exhale through a soft jaw, the jaw muscles are the chewing muscles, are the strongest muscles in your body. And come over to the other side, and they're very close to your brain, so that's why so many of us clench or grind our teeth. And so the head and all our thoughts and everything that stresses us out being in our brains and close to our necks and shoulders is another reason why we're tight there. And then reach out and bring your head back. And every time you inhale and exhale with a soft jaw, you're de-stressing. So now let's take the ear back over to the first shoulder, look down towards that hand. Now reach that arm out at an angle, take your hand behind your head, and then just push the back of the head into the hand, tailbone down, breastbone up, and the 3 breaths. So if we're not moving for 3 times, we're taking the 3 breaths. And I started a bit ago saying why the 3 breaths were so handy. It's because they take about 6 to 7 seconds to take those breaths, and they're over to the other side, reach the arm out. And when we do something consistently, like every day or every other day for a period of time, your body has a muscle memory in 6 seconds. So we're giving it that opportunity to start building this memory. Bring your chin back to center and lift that laser beam straight forward, and then take your arms out. Take them around your chest as if you were holding a beach ball against your chest, and you have energy. So if you remember, this is my dance space, that's your dance space. And you're going to just take those arms up overhead. We don't take our arms up overhead very often. And then bring them down to shoulder height. And you're putting a little pressure hand to hand. And of course you're breathing, and your tailbone is down and your breastbone is up. And when you do that, you'll feel lighter on your feet. All right. Take it up, switch the hands, and now put the hands onto the crown of the head. Push the head up into the hands, and you're going to take one elbow up to the ceiling. You're reaching it up there, so you're lengthening through the upside, and you're lifting over any wrinkles you might have in your shirt. And now push the crown of the head into the hands. This is decompressing, and this is giving us a closed kinetic chain, a closed movement chain, so you get feedback of where you are in space, which is called proprioception. And when we just walk around on the planet, space and air don't give us feedback. Switch the hands again. Take that elbow up to the ceiling. And then you can feel that when you're armpits are open, your hip sockets feel more open. Or if you didn't notice that, just pay attention to it right now. We're going to take the up armpit and just steer it down towards the floor. Your hip sockets are still facing straight forward. And it's a small move, but it feels big. And then we're going to take that up to the ceiling. And when we go out, just see if you can look back towards your elbow. It's a very small move, and you're keeping your pelvis neutral so that your low back is supported. And then come back to neutral, push the head up into the hands, switch them up. Let's take it to the other side. That elbow goes up, reaching up through that side, pushing the head into the hands. And then shine that armpit down towards the floor. Tailbone's down, breastbone's up. You don't want to dip down into your low back. And then just take your nose to point where the ceiling and the wall meet. And then you might want to look up at your eyebrows. And then come back to center. Come back up. And then switch the hands again. We're going to lift, tailbone down, breastbone up, and twist, keeping the hip sockets facing straight forward. And just reach long through the back of the neck, because in forward head hang, the back of our neck does not lengthen. It kind of sinks forward, and switch the hands, take it up to the other side. And the inhaling and exhaling, your abdominals are meant to squeeze the air out of your lungs. So every time you inhale and exhale with intention, it actually strengthens your core. So now you're going to slide your hands around to the back of your head. Like we did in the beginning, where you push your head against your hands and your hands against your head. You're going to look down towards the floor and then take your eyeballs to see if you can even see your toes or your waist, and then push the back of your head into your hands. And if you find that one of these, is something simple that you can remember to just try gently during the day, especially anything with your arms up, because we don't do that enough, and then come back to neutral. And then tailbone down, breastbone up, and then just lay your head back into your hands gently. So you're not pushing your chin up, you're just laying your head back into your hands, and then look up towards your eyebrows. And if you pay attention here, your armpits and your hip sockets are open. And then just take a nice reach up. Take your arms down by your side and just swing from side to side, and that's it. If you use any part of that or the whole sequence, you'll be completely released in this area. So now we're going to do the morning stretches. So you can be on a carpet, a very good carpet is fine. When you do these in the morning, you can do them on the floor. If you're on a hardwood floor, you do want to have a mat. You can do them on your bed. So we're not going to have super precision of movement here. We're just trying to, while you sleep, there are fibers that build in your soft tissue, and especially in your fascia. So as we sleep, we actually have these fibers that build up. They build up over years. If we have certain postures or places where we're stuck, even if you have an injury and there's a tightness there. So wherever you're tight, you're weak. And wherever you're weak, your muscles are weaker, and weak muscle spasms. So if you have different parts of you that give you feedback, this is a great way to start your day, so you're set up. Your body is happy before it ever gets started. So you can be on your bed, the floor, and if you're comfortable with your legs long, that's best, and if not, knees bent is fine. We're going to start with, and each movement is going to be 7 repetitions or held for 7 seconds, going back to at 6 seconds, your body will create a muscle memory. And if you do learn these by heart, it only takes 4 minutes. And they are on the front, the home page of my website, which is pilatesandmore.com. And you can also email or contact me there on the contact page. All right, so we're just going to do 7 angel arms. And you have your own range of motion. So if today you can only go this far, that's where you go. We don't do anything to pain or fatigue. And just keep breathing. Just in through the nose and out through the soft jaw, if you can remember to do that. And if not, just so you're breathing. We hold our breath a lot. Breathing is pretty important. It's the first thing we do when we hit the planet, and the last thing before we go. We can go without food and water a lot longer. And then the next time your arms come down to your side, we're going to take one leg up towards the ceiling. Now, if you can't straighten your leg like this, just bend the bottom one, and that'll give you a chance to straighten it a little more, and it may not straighten completely. Take your hands behind your leg, and maybe just give it a gentle rocking motion. And then we're going to circle the ankle. So you're going to push through the point and pull through the flex. So we're working the whole foot. So your feet are trapped in shoes the rest of the day. They're like coffins. They hold your feet hostage. So if we move our feet like this and they realize the 135 working parts that there are, if they realize they can move, they remember that the rest of the day, even if they're in a shoe. So we're just rewarding them now because they're going to carry us around the rest of the day. We take them for granted. And then you can either take the leg straight, keep it bent. I'm going to straighten mine so you can see well. And then take the leg up and a little release. And then circle it around. Push through the point and pull through the flex. And of course you're breathing. The other direction. Good. Now, bend your knees. And this isn't on the website, but we're going to do a little gentle rocking motion before we take the shoulder bridge because 80% of humans have a tight low back. So you're just going to press the curve out of your back and tip the tailbone up. This is flexion. And then we're going to roll the tailbone down and let that arch come back. That's extension. So many of us have postures that dump us into one place or the other, or the way we sit. So anytime you have any low back tension, if you can get on the floor and just do this gentle rocking and nice and smooth, the more smoothly you're moving and come back to neutral, take your arms at your side, the more smoothly you're moving, the more your muscles, tendons, ligaments, and fascia are moving your skeleton through space in the order that all of those things are meant to move. And then that's functional movement. Curl the tailbone up. Keep curling the tailbone up toward the back of the knees, pressing down on the arms. And the idea is not to arch the back, it's just to lengthen the spine. And push your knees forward, and that will take the weight out of your shoulders. So we're equally weighted between feet and shoulders. And that's probably holding it for 7, and then roll down. Feel like you're pulling each vertebra away from the one above it. And try to get through where you don't have the curve. You're pushing it out, and then you let it release back. One leg goes out, and the other knee, pull it into the shoulder. And then peek at this leg just to make sure that you don't see your shin or your foot. You don't want to have the heel come towards the center of you, and here that compresses the hip. We're trying to open it up for the rest of the day so it has lots of flexibility. And even people that are flexible can feel tight. So those of us that aren't as flexible as we used to be feel tight, and people that were never flexible feel equally tight. So just know that all this is good for everybody. Then both knees are going to come in. Nod your chin forward and just bring yourself into this tight ball. And then you're just going to shift over to one edge of your spine. And you might be wobbly, like you're going to roll over, and that's deep stabilizing muscles that we don't use very often, and we certainly aren't aware of them. And the beauty of functional movement is becoming aware of more parts of your body so that more muscles, tendons, ligaments help us move through space. Everybody gets invited to the party. So arms are up to the ceiling. You're going to take one arm across your body, put the other hand on your tricep, pull your shoulder down away from your ear and across your body. So you're going to feel that from your shoulder blade, because our shoulder blades get stuck on our back when we're rounded over computers, steering wheels, tables, forward oriented. And then, of course, that was 7 seconds, and then we'll just take it over to the other side. Shoulder down away from the ear. Reach the arms up to the ceiling and make sure that your shoulders are plopped down, and then roll the wrists around. So this is the same that we did for the ankles, we're doing for the wrist. And as much as you see your elbows having action, so did your knees. Your knees and elbows are hinging joints. All right, this is one of my favorites. So you're going to come on your side, and you can just be comfortable on this bottom arm, and take your legs in front of you for a little balance. Pull the top knee in. As the knee comes in, send the tailbone down. This is called oppositional energy. So we're lengthening the muscles. They come towards the body and move it through space. So you get flexibility and strength at the same time. It's called an eccentric, a long contraction. And then as if someone were pulling on your wrist and your ankle, and keep the hips stacked. So you almost want to feel like you're pushing the top hip forward. And then over to the other side. We're almost finished. And then lengthen out. Take the legs a little bit in front of you. Pull that top knee in. Send your tailbone down the other direction. You'll feel it. And it'll even bring your shoulder down away from your ear. Everything's connected. Leg goes out, arm goes forward, hips are stacked. Push that top hip forward. Someone pulling on your wrist and your ankle. Now the next movement is one that you may have done often in your life. It's a quite common movement. And if you don't do anything else in the morning, do this one. It is very good. Bring one knee in, take the opposite hand. Keep the shoulder heavy, but let your torso twist. And then just pull your abs back away from your shirt on your exhale. So if you don't do anything else, you can keep doing this for longer than the 7. And then unwind. Bring the other knee in, opposite hand. Shoulders are heavy. And just bring that leg across. And keep reaching this hip long so you're not just dumping your body down into the matter bed. So if you reach this, again, this is the oppositional energy. So that you learn to find all the edges, all the places that you can fill. And if you need more challenge, you can straighten the leg out. But this is a good start. And then when you come back, bend both knees, organize your spine nice and long. One ankle goes over the other thigh. Put your hand in the middle of this thigh bone flat and just push it away. It'll open up this hip socket. Keep breathing. Pick up the bottom knee and wrap. This is another very common stretch. Pull, it's called, for the piriformis. It's a muscle that goes across your pelvis, and if it pushes on your sciatic nerve, you get sciatica. So you're going to just take this knee, and on inhale, exhale, pull the knee against that ankle, and it'll just deepen the stretch that you're feeling. And you can bring the chin to the chest to do this and look through that space, because for the next part, we are going to pick up the head. Tilt over to one side, and again, you might feel like you're going to roll over, but remember, you're not going far. And those intrinsic stabilizers in your torso get invited to help. And when you go over to the far side, you can rest on your upper arm to keep you from, and flex those ankles. And then switch this up, cross over, put the hand on the thigh bone, push that away, have your hand between the knee and the hip socket, right on the bone. It'll open the front, shoulders are wide, no tension in the neck. Flex the ankles, pick up that leg. Inhale, exhale, pull the knee against the ankle. And then come up and look between the space between the legs, and then come over. And then remember to reach long through the back of the neck, because the more that we can get some movement back there, the less tension you'll have later. And that takes a while to come into play, because we have had forward head hang our whole life. And then just cross that leg over, and whatever knee is up to the ceiling, that's the direction. So I have the right knee up, I'm going over to the right. And that'll lengthen all of this out. And remember, we're not forcing anything. There is no pain or fatigue in any of these movements. We are gently coaching our bodies into the place, this is the reeducation part, into where we move better. Gracefully and without stress. And then just lengthen out, arms long at your side. We're going to take that side neck bend again. Just take one ear over to one shoulder. Push the head towards the end of the bed or mat or whatever to reach over to the other side. Nose is straight up to the ceiling, so this is a direct side bend. And again, you only go through your working level or your range of motion. Come back to center, turn the ear down, the other ear is up to the ceiling. And all the things that we're doing supported lying on our back will give us feedback when we stand up that we know that we have a back of our body. Last one coming up. So you're going to reach long through the back of the neck, push the arms long, just come up to where you can see your toes. And your shoulder blades are, the bottom of the shoulder blades are still touching. And there's a lot of core engagement here just to make this movement. And again, you're just holding it for 7 seconds. And then you're finished. So gently come up. Have a good day. Watch this as many times as you want this first week. There'll be a new episode next week. And again, if you want to view, the morning stretches are free on the front page of my website, which is pilatesandmore.com. And if you want to contact me with any questions, I hope this is going to be a long-term relationship, on the contact page on the website, you'll find my personal business email. All right, have a great week.